The Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. So I guess it begs to ask the question, is the dynasty over?
The dynasty is over. Everybody can rejoice, and the Chiefs have officially fallen from grace. And on a more realistic note, I think that the way they've started is completely unfortunate. If you are any type of fan of the Chiefs, I know that there aren't very many of them at this point, but like they have not looked good in the first two games, just flat out. And it is more specifically on the offense than the defense. And the offense hasn't really looked good in probably like since 2023, if we're being honest. Like that, they went through their ups and downs all season, but the really interesting part about this season is that they're not pulling out the close games, or at least through the first two games they haven't. Like the key to last season, right? The key to having so many wins and like being on top of the AFC West for so long is the fact that they are able to play competitive games and win them. This season, like the Chargers game, and even to the extent of the Eagles game, like it's two games that you want to pull out, but they're not necessary. But still, like there does look like to be a fundamental issue with this offense. And if you look at the offense that they're dealing with, it kind of makes sense. Patrick Mahomes has led the team in passing and rushing both of the first two games. The rushing attack just hasn't been there. Isaiah Pacheco hasn't been the same since that injury last year. And then they're leaning on Kareem Hunt, who hasn't been in his prime for about 4 or 5 years now. And then their best receiver is probably Hollywood Brown at this point. Travis Kelce looks like a shell of himself, to be honest. He's probably the reason why they lost that Eagles game. They had goal to go, and then he drops a ball, but not only is it dropped, it is intercepted by the defense, and then only saved an offensive lineman how to save a pick six. Just in general, this team doesn't look very good from an offensive point of view. For the defense has always been stout, and I think that they play good enough games to like keep this offense in it. But man, when you're relying on Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster as your wide receiver 1 and 2, it starts to look a little bit worse. And then obviously they have injuries and suspensions with Rashee Rice at this point. But I mean, they'll get it together, right? They're the Chiefs, but losing a division game to start, and then like kind of coming out at home and then coming out flat against the defending Super Bowl champions in the Super Bowl rematch, you just want to see a little bit more from them. And again, it's not really Patrick Mahomes' fault at this point. He can't do it all, leading in pass, obviously passing, but rushing in the last 2 weeks, and then having your like third best receiver, Tyquan Thornton, having to make incredible catches down the sideline isn't how you want to like start off the season. But we'll see. I think that it's not really cause for concern yet. If they start losing any more games than this, it could start to be. But I think that when Rashee Rice comes back and that offense starts to get a little bit more clicking a little bit more, it'll be business as usual for the Chiefs. But it hasn't looked great over the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you hit everything, and I agree with all of the points that you said. It's still not over. It does suck for the Chiefs, though. Their MO last year was winning these close games, and they've dropped a couple of them now. The Chargers and Eagles deserve plenty of credit because the Eagles are a Super Bowl contending team, and the Chargers are at the very least a playoff team in the AFC. So 2 tough games, close games. They're just not able to finish, and their offense hasn't looked good, as you said, since 2023. And that is a serious thing now, especially 2 games into this year. It hasn't changed. Dealing with some injuries, and that run game just isn't there. Travis Kelce, not good right now. And then Hollywood Brown being your best receiver, probably going to need a little bit more help. Even with Patrick Mahomes there, he can only do so much. Looking ahead at their schedule, they, for the most part, have a good team and then bad team the rest of the way, which I think is really, really funny. And it doesn't really allow them a chance to really go on a streak, but maybe they'll be able to take care of some of those better teams on the schedule. They got the Giants, Ravens, then Jags, then Lions, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Broncos, Colts. So I don't really know where we're ending right there. But I still think that this team is going to be a playoff team. They're still going to win some close games. They're going to be a good team. Tough out week to week, no matter what. They're not going to just roll over. But they definitely have some work to do. I don't know if anybody's really making this comparison, but I know that it could potentially come up. And I don't really see it, but I felt like it was worth mentioning. When everybody looks back at the Patriots dynasty, they always go 05 to 2014, right? Because they won that Eagles, the Super Bowl against the Eagles in 05, and then they had 9 years in between the next one, and they were kind of maybe seen as a retool era. They didn't have a lot of holdovers from that time. I think it was just Vince Wilfork and Tom Brady. During that time, of course, they were 18-1 in 2007. And Tom Brady lost the season because he got injured. And they also made it to the Super Bowl against the Giants. So they were pretty dominant even still through that run. And you could book 12-4 every single year, and they just ran into the Ravens a couple times. I don't see it, but I could see some people talking about maybe this is where they enter their retooling era of the Chiefs dynasty, if you will, if this does continue. I think they do enter a retool, but I don't think they'll be able to, if they do, be able to be as good as the Patriots were for all of those years. That's an insane task, but I don't know if anybody's made that comparison, but I feel like it's pretty easy, and I don't think it exactly fits them.